In the previous podcast, we discussed tree selection and nursery stock, and how choosing the right tree is critical for long-term success. Today we're going to focus on what happens next. Transplanting. Because selecting a good tree is only the first step. Successfully moving that tree from the nursery to the landscape, and helping it establish, is what determines whether it survives and thrives. Transplanting is the process of relocating a tree from one location to another. This may involve moving trees from a nursery to a planting site, or in some cases, relocating existing trees within a landscape. Regardless of the situation, transplanting creates stress, and understanding that stress is key to managing it. Let's start with what happens during transplanting. When a tree is dug from a nursery, a large portion of its root system is left behind. Only a portion of the roots are included in the root ball. This means the tree loses a significant amount of its ability to absorb water and nutrients. At the same time, the canopy remains largely intact. This creates an imbalance. The tree has more leaves than the reduced root system can support. This is known as transplant shock. Symptoms of transplant shock may include reduced growth, leaf drop, or dieback. In some cases, the tree may survive but takes several years to fully establish. So how do arborists manage transplant shock? It starts with proper handling. Trees should be handled carefully during transport and planting. The root ball should be protected from damage and drying out. Dropping or breaking the root ball can severely impact survival. Next is proper planting, which we discussed in podcast 31. Correct planting depth, proper mulching, and appropriate watering are all essential. But transplanting also involves timing. The best time to transplant most trees is during the dormant season. This reduces stress because the tree is not actively growing. In many climates, this means late fall or early spring. However, timing may vary depending on species and regional conditions. Now let's talk about root-to-shoot balance. Because the root system is reduced during transplanting, the tree may not be able to support its full canopy. In some cases, light pruning may be used to reduce stress. However, excessive pruning should be avoided. Leaves are needed for photosynthesis, which provides energy for root growth. The focus should be on supporting root recovery, rather than reducing canopy excessively. Water management is one of the most important factors in transplant success. Newly transplanted trees require consistent watering. The goal is to maintain adequate soil moisture without overwatering. Too little water leads to drought stress. Too much water reduces oxygen in the soil. Both can harm the tree. Mulching also plays a key role. Mulch helps retain moisture, regulate soil temperature, and reduce competition from grass. As we discussed earlier, mulch should be applied properly and not piled against the trunk. Now let's consider the establishment period. Tree establishment refers to the time it takes for a tree to recover from transplanting and develop a functional root system. A general guideline is that a tree requires 1 year of establishment for every inch of trunk diameter. For example, a 2-inch tree may take approximately 2 years to establish. During this time, the tree is more vulnerable to stress. Monitoring is essential. Arborists should regularly check for signs of stress, pests, or poor growth. Early intervention can improve outcomes. Now let's connect transplanting to urban forestry. Successful establishment is critical for long-term canopy development. If newly planted trees fail, canopy goals cannot be achieved. This is why proper planting and aftercare are so important. For the ISA Urban Forest Professional Exam, focus on transplanting concepts. You should understand the concept of transplant shock, the importance of root loss during transplanting, proper timing for transplanting, the role of watering and mulching, and the establishment period. Questions may involve identifying factors that influence transplant success. Transplanting is a critical transition in a tree's life. It is the point where a tree must adapt to a new environment and rebuild its root system. With proper care, that transition can lead to long-term success. In the next podcast, we'll continue exploring arboricultural practices by looking at root management and how arborists handle root conflicts and root-related issues in urban environments. You've been listening to the Arborist-podcast. Our goal is to grow our collective knowledge, one domain at a time. If you enjoyed the podcast, please like, share, and subscribe to help us keep this momentum. Until next time, let's keep growing this community together.